If you are getting ready to head out to the grocery store to do a big grocery trip, don't go yet, at least until you watch this video. I'm gonna share with you some easy meals that I made for my family with the purpose of trying to use up some stuff in our pantry and our fridge. And learning to cook from the pantry, learning to cook from the fridge with stuff that you already have on hand is a great skill to have, not just so you can learn to throw together easy meals for your family, but also so that we can save money, so that we aren't letting things go to waste that we've already paid for. Last week, I made a $5 dinners video, and one of the meals that I made was a very simplified version of chicken and noodles. And ever since then, I have been thinking about my Nana's beef and noodles. She made like a roast beef, and then she would actually put noodles in the gravy and serve it all over mashed potatoes. And I don't know, it just has been sounding good, especially as we have had cooler weather and rain. It's kind of given fall vibes. Well, I don't have a roast on hand, but I do have another fryer chicken. So I think I'm gonna do like old-fashioned or more old-fashioned chicken and noodles. So I am chopping up some carrots and some onions to get into the crock pot along with the whole chicken, and I'll just season it with paprika, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, kind of like what I did for that video. And maybe this is only funny to me, but the reason that I have some extras of those things is because I had to go back into the store and purchase all of the things that I purchased for that video all over again so that I could get a thumbnail picture for that video, because the thumbnail pics I got didn't turn out. YouTuber probs. But the good news is that it's all stuff that we'll use, like milk and cheese and this chicken, and everybody loved that roast chicken that I made last week, so they're all gonna be delighted that we're having it again. And I'm gonna just, you know, jazz it up a little bit differently this time. Just a little PSA if you're working with whole chickens. My last few have not had the giblets and the neck in the cavity, but this one did. So make sure if you haven't worked with, you know, whole chickens, cooking them in the crock pot before, that you check the cavity before you put it in your crock pot, because you need to pull this out. I also have about half, well, maybe a third of this 5-pound bag of potatoes. It's maybe 2 pounds of potatoes here in the pantry that I need to use up. So I'm gonna peel and chop these, boil them, and I'm gonna make just really simple mashed potatoes, like a little bit of butter, milk, salt and pepper. That's gonna be it, because the gravy is gonna be the star of the show. My chicken is done. I removed it from the crock pot, and I also made sure that I removed any leftover bones or big chunks of onions from what's left here, which is about 2 cups or so of beautiful, delicious broth that chicken rendered. And I went ahead and left the carrots in here as well. And now I'm gonna add about 2 cups of these egg noodles to the broth mixture that is here in the slow cooker. And I'm just gonna pop the lid back on and let those keep cooking on high. It should take about 15 or 20 minutes or so for the egg noodles to cook in the broth. I am making some green beans to go along with this dinner. And when I want to jazz up frozen green beans, I will cook them either on the stove or, in this case, in the microwave. And when they're done cooking, I will toss them with a little bit of butter, like maybe just a tablespoon, and then about a tablespoon each of Parmesan cheese and breadcrumbs, a little salt and pepper. So good. My kids gobble those up every single time. When the noodles were done cooking, I made a cornstarch slurry with half and half, about 3/4 of a cup or so of half and half, and a couple tablespoons of cornstarch. I shook that up in a jar and then poured it into the crock pot with the noodles, and I've had the lid on for about 10 minutes, and they are ready to go. So let me show you how we're gonna plate this all up. I just take some mashed potatoes just like this. And I know it sounds crazy, but this is the way that my Nana would serve this. You just take the gravy and the noodles and you put it right on top of the mashed potatoes, just like that, noodles and all. Have some chicken to go along with that. Finish up with some green beans, and oh my goodness, this looks and smells amazing. Yummy. Does anybody else out there ever have just random snacky items that your family just won't finish up? Like those last few handfuls of pretzels, or like half a jar of nuts or something like that. That's kind of what I've got going on with this next thing. We brought this bag of Bugles home from New Mexico, and that was 4 weeks ago. And nobody has opened it. Nobody is choosing it. So I thought I would combine this with a few other things in my pantry to make some snack mix. I have some peanuts here, a couple handfuls. I actually bought these by accident. I meant to get the salted kind. These are the unsalted. And I bought these to mix with candy corn. Does anybody else mix dry roasted peanuts with candy corn? One of the things I remember about that snack is it's what we would eat when we were judging all-state auditions in the fall when I taught high school music. And let me tell you, I must have eaten my weight in candy corn and peanuts while listening to the same 60-second excerpt of Zadok the Priest sung by 120 different second sopranos. It took a lot of candy to get us through those. I don't want to use all of these crackers because I just got them and my kids actually will take these in their lunch, but I'll add a few handfuls of these, and just to kind of bulk it up with a little more snackiness, I'm gonna air pop a few cups of popcorn, and then we're gonna make like something to top all of this with and bake it up in the oven. I have my oven preheating to 250, and I combined all of my dry ingredients into a roasting pan. I like to sift the ingredients just to get all the little crumbs out because those would soak up all of the sauce. And now to season this, I am melting in this saucepan 1 stick of butter. I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons of Worcestershire, a la the Chex Mix recipe. And I'm gonna keep this really easy and just season it with this packet of Fiesta dip mix from Hidden Valley. My sister-in-law brought this to me. She works for Clorox, who makes Hidden Valley, but you could season it with like an all-purpose seasoning or with a regular ranch mix, or just with, you know, garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper, you know, kind of like the Chex Mix seasoning that's on the Chex Mix box that we all make during the holidays, right? But I'm gonna season it this way, and that Fiesta mix is gonna give it a little bit of a kick. Once this sauce is all mixed up, I'm gonna pour it over the top of my dry ingredients and give them a toss, and then I will put them in the oven, and I'm gonna let them roast for anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. I'm just gonna check on them and stir it every 15 minutes or so until it is done, and then lay it out on some parchment paper to cool off. Nobody was eating the bugles, so I decided to doctor them up a little bit.
It's good.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Good, like football snack, you know, just like munch on it while we're watching football this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like snack mix, right? Can I get a little bit of cheese to go with it?
What you reading, Brick?
Boxcar Children.
Boxcar Children? How's the snack mix?
Good.
I have had this bag of Rhodes rolls in my chest freezer in the garage for way too long. I actually think they've been out there since like just after Christmas time, so really need to get those baked up. I'm gonna do a couple of different things with them though. Did you know that you can bake Rhodes rolls into bread if you just put them in a bread pan and let them rise all together? So I'm gonna do that because I actually want a couple of loaves of just plain bread that I can slice and make toast out of. And then the rest of them I think I'm gonna turn into clover leaf rolls. I'm gonna divide each roll in half and then dip those roll pieces in butter and put 3 of them in each section of a muffin tin and bake them up. My husband plans to grill some steaks tomorrow night, so we can have those along with the steaks and the sides. And I think that's how I'm gonna use up these Rhodes rolls that have been in my freezer for a little while. One of the really cool things about pantry cooking is that sometimes making one meal begets another meal, which leads to another meal, and you end up using bits and pieces of the leftover meals to create the next meals. That's actually what's happening tonight, because I still have some chicken left over from the chicken that we roasted, and also some carrots from that meal. Plus I have a few handfuls of ditalini pasta in the pantry that I want to use up, and I have some half and half in the fridge that is short dated, and I'd like to go ahead and use that as well. So a quick Pinterest search showed me this really delicious looking ditalini chicken soup recipe. It's from Eat Well. I'll leave it linked in the description box below, and that is what we're going to get going for dinner tonight. On the stove right now I have 3 medium carrots that I peeled and chopped, and about half of an onion chopped, and it's been sauteing in a few tablespoons of olive oil for about 5 minutes now. I'm gonna add a little bit of minced garlic, or a lot, my leftover chicken from my rotisserie chicken, and I'm gonna stir that and let it saute for just another couple of minutes. Now I am adding half a block of cream cheese, which is another thing I needed to use up from the refrigerator, and at least a quart or 4 cups of chicken broth. And this is broth that I made from the bones of the chicken that we cooked the other night. I'm gonna bring this to a simmer, cover it, and let it simmer for about 10 minutes or so before we add our pasta. Oh, also some salt and pepper just to taste. Okay, time to give this a stir and then add the pasta. The original recipe calls for 2 cups, and I know I don't have quite that much left in this box, But I have some little rotinis left here in the bottom of this little container here, this glass jar. So I'm gonna go ahead and add those too. A lot of it is crumbs, which is good because it'll be about the same size as the ditalini. And I'm just gonna bring this to a simmer and let the pasta cook, and then we'll finish it up. Okay, this looks and smells amazing. The pasta is all cooked up, and we're gonna finish it off by adding the half and half. It also calls for cheddar cheese, but honestly, I don't even think it needs that. I'll just grate up the cheese and kind of leave it out for people to garnish their bowls if they want. But I'm just going to stir this and let it heat back through, and then it is ready to serve. I am eating a bowl of the leftover soup for lunch today, and I just have to say that it was fantastic. This is so worth making. Check out the recipe, it's linked in the description box. Really good, super easy with pantry ingredients too. We're getting down to the end of the lunch packing things, but tomorrow's Friday, so McKenna has decided to make it through the week that she's going to make some turkey and cheese crescent roll-ups to pack in lunches tomorrow. And are you gonna share, McKenna? Are you gonna share them with other children who want to pack them for lunch?
What? I don't understand what you're saying.
Real life, 8:30 at night, this is what the kitchen looks like. Just so you know, not Pinterest. Right down to my Diet Dr. Pepper from earlier today and the beer that I'm working on right now. It is Monday and we had company over the weekend. I actually filmed a video. I think you'll be seeing that one before this video. I filmed a video with like a weekend grocery haul and meal plan. It was a very busy weekend. And I'm standing here in the pantry trying to figure out what to make for dinner. But since it is Monday and the weather's pretty nice and I am still trying to use a few things up before I go back to the grocery store, I'm thinking that we're gonna have like kind of a snacky night because I've got like some crackers and some chips and things in the pantry. I've got some little Smokies that I did not use this weekend. Thinking about just throwing those in the crock pot with some barbecue sauce. I even have some right here that we've had for a while that's open that needs to get used up. I've got a little bit of cheese to go with the crackers. I've got fruits and veggies that we need to use. I think I may just do like a snacky spread. It's Monday Night Football. I actually don't have to run the mom shuttle. My husband and I don't have to take or pick up kids tonight for anything. So it's a good night to just take a break and sort of have a clean out the fridge night. Does anybody else have that? Not just with leftovers, but just with random items. I think that's what we're gonna do tonight and just kind of try to put together sort of a snacky supper with what I have on hand. We even have a few birthday cupcakes left over from Ruthie's birthday dinner. So I can almost guarantee, well, I can guarantee those are gonna get eaten today. I put out a new pantry cooking ebook a couple of months ago with recipes from videos like this that are easy to read, easy to print. There's more information about that in the description box below, plus an entire playlist of videos like this one.